2009, we made history with the election of President Barack Obama. He called us to service as there remains much work to do to end unemployment, poverty, and crime in our communities. There's so many books on how we can accomplish this. But this year, everyone's raving about this summer's hottest new book, The Solution for Black America, Reclaiming, Rebuilding, and Restoring the Urban Ghettos in America by Chicago's own Emmanuel Barbee. A graduate of Northeastern Illinois University, Barbee addresses key ways we back our families and communities. But unlike so many other books on this topic, Barbee captivates his reader, presenting solutions through a riveting life story. It's entertaining, it's different, it's exciting. The perfect book club selection. Don't be left out. Get your copy of The Solution for Black America, Reclaiming, Rebuilding, and Restoring the Urban Ghettos in America. Order today at Amazon.com.
Greetings, family. Welcome to Help Stop the Genocide in American Ghettos podcast. I'm your host, Emmanuel Barbee. If you are new to this channel or podcast, then please subscribe and share our content with your friends. This will help grow our audience. I provide a written transcript in the group with the same name on Facebook for those of you who don't speak English. I also cite all of my sources under Show and Prove. You can find all the information under the About section on this YouTube channel. I use this platform to interact with everyone on my friends list and everyone in my social groups by giving Black business owners free airtime to promote their products and services. I give people in the faith community an opportunity to share the gospel of Jesus Christ, and law-abiding citizens an opportunity to share their special talents and skills on my show with my listeners from the podcast community. After the show, I offer my guest speakers an incentive by teaching them how to create their own podcast and YouTube channel to help them earn extra revenue during COVID-19. I also assist people on my friends list with creating basic websites, finding college scholarships and grants, housing, and legal services, all for free. Our goal this year is to raise $500,000 for our film project, Hood Liberator Made in Chicago, The War Against Willie Lynch Begins. I would like to thank those of you who have donated to our film project. I encourage people from my friends list and people in my social groups who want to be a part of our film project to please send me your email address to my Facebook inbox. We will hold a private conference through Google Meeting to discuss the best methods of reaching others via social media, people on their friends list, donors, and local businesses. GRCAM of Chicago, which is the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago, mission is to eradicate urban violence in Chicago through our programs and services. Our objective is to build a bridge between the diaspora and continental Africans through art, culture, and commerce. GRCAM of Chicago will be in the business of creating docudramas, short films, theater, photography, fine arts, music, poetry, literature, sculpture, dance, and spiritual development for inner city youth and their families. Once this virus is cleaned up, we plan on launching African tours in order for us to move from behind the computer and make real connections with our global Black family on the continent, starting in South Africa. I created GRCAM, the Grassroots Community Activist Movement, because I got tired of all of the division among Black people. I created GRCAM in 1991 on a site called Gopher. I wanted to create an organization that focused specifically on solving Black issues in America. I wanted to connect with other like-minded African Americans, Afro-Brazilians, Afro-Caribbeans, Afro-Europeans, Afro-immigrants, and Afro-Latinos throughout the diaspora. This is a podcast where we talk about solving Black issues, African issues, using a spiritual perspective as it pertains to the great awakening of our people that has been prophesied. Our objective is to get our film project fully funded and play it by ear during COVID-19. Once this virus is cleaned up, then we will shoot our film and promote our film in selected movie theaters and sell our DVDs together. We will put GRCAM on the map and turn my vision for Black America into reality. In 2021 and beyond, the grassroots community activist movement will be promoting a policy of global Black unity, ownership, and community support. Our objective is to be in a place where we own everything we consume and we support one another. We're reaching out to our group members and listeners and would like to encourage them to support our film project in 3 ways. They are as follows: through our virtual store, GRCAM merchandise such as COVID face masks, coffee mugs, posters, handbags, and t-shirts. All proceeds will go towards our film project. Secondly, through our nonprofit organization, GRCAI of Chicago, the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago PayPal page. Donations can be used as a tax write-off because this is a legitimate 501c3. All donations are tax deductible to the fullest extent of the law. Thirdly, you can support us by purchasing my revised book on Amazon through my author page. Keep in mind, community support is where we have to go, and please understand, when you supporting our YouTube channel or our podcast, you're supporting an independent Black network which will eventually employ Black people in our films, stage plays, and in our actual business. I need African entrepreneurs, especially in South Africa, to come on the show and promote their businesses and ministries to the diaspora and vice versa. Instructions on participation on the show this evening. Once I am done with my presentation, I will open up the virtual phone lines. First, watch my Facebook Live video called Side A. After I finish with my presentation, then I will open up the virtual phone lines. Just click on the phone icon to interact with me in real time through Facebook Messenger as a voice call for Q&A. This will be called Side B. With that being said, tonight's segment is entitled Getting GRCAM Members on Code, a Nehemiah Assignment. February 4th marked 17 years that I have been on Facebook. I need to speak with my Christian group members from Light of the World Inspirational Group and Christian Spoken Word Network. These groups I created is much more than about posting videos and sharing inspirational messages. It's about us interacting in real time with one another, and as well as networking as a collective. Speaking from a spiritual perspective, Nehemiah did not rebuild the walls of Jerusalem by himself. He had qualified architects, bricklayers, and engineers. Likewise, my purpose for creating both Christian groups and secular groups was for me to recruit brave and smart Black people and African people from around the globe, not for us to remain behind a computer. People in my secular group, such as the New Black Voices of Media, GRCAI of Chicago, and GRCAI of Africa, I need for you to step up. I can't do everything. It takes a team to make a dream work. I plan on turning all of my social groups into a real Christian business. Again, that would be GRCAI of Chicago. I'm not a preacher. I'm a teacher. And I'm called to help my people who are trapped in American ghettos and those who reside outside of the inner cities by solving our social issues in America. Please listen to this video podcast as a plea to help save our young people who are suffering. When I talk about solutions, I get a lot of pushback, not from white people, but from our own people. I don't care. I'm going to continue to push my message until I'm able to get my film fully funded and made. The proceeds from my film and my virtual store and my revised book will put me in a better position financially so that I can hire qualified black middle-class professionals to assist me in making our Christian business effective and successful for years to come. At this time, I am the business. I am the grassroots community activist movement. I noticed that people are not calling into the show. I understand many of you are parents and are working or going to school, even if you are unable to participate in these events. Please share my event information with your friends. This will help get the ball rolling. Also, when you have a chance, please listen to my video podcast or read my transcript and leave a comment, good or bad, in the comment section on my Facebook Live event page. Thank you. On this video podcast, we focus on promoting grassroots advocacy, black businesses, finance, health, community-based solutions, solving social issues within the black community, and spiritual development, which speaks to the interests of our listeners. This show will provide insight on how our creative abilities can be used to create tangible change in our communities. These are not just online groups for me to sell my book, but rather groups for us to build our own networks so that we can support one another. Black preachers have been in politics. Dr. King Jr., Pastor Jamal Bryant, and Pastor Dr. Frederick D. Haynes III, just to name a few. There's a lot of black politicians who are doing great things. My concern with black elected officials is that many of them are devoted to the Democratic Party. As the black community as a whole, this means you are part of their agenda, not a black agenda. I believe we need to create a black union and decide which political party is willing to meet our demands. Then that's the political party we should back at that time. The reason why the financial elite wants black people to pay attention to everybody else's issues is to distract us from pushing a black agenda. There are 5 major issues facing black America: mass incarceration, underfunded public schools, urban gentrification, the lack of community investment, and state violence or police brutality. Before I became a Christian, I was a black man. I have an obligation to my ancestors to finish their work by recruiting brave and smart black people and African people who are like-minded and are able to help me turn my vision into a reality. The purpose of me moving my virtual Christian socialist organization from behind a computer, starting in Chicago, is to help eradicate urban violence in Chicago. GRCAM Chicago will help solve many of our issues if given a chance. We see that nothing out there is really working. Since 2001, over 4,000 people have been murdered in Chicago alone. GRCAM Chicago will focus on black economic empowerment, develop an economic base, strengthening the black family, create a code of conduct, build bridges between the diaspora and continental Africans. We're more than 2 weeks in the Biden administration, black people who are the ones who helped put Biden in office and gave him control of the Senate, we are still waiting for a policy specifically for us. As I mentioned under Show and Prove on my transcript, the Biden administration gave specific policies for immigrants, Asians, LGBT, and environmentalists. When it comes to black people, we get nothing. When it's time to talk about tangibles, Biden and Harris have no problem telling other groups how much they're gonna get, but when it's time for black people, they tell us how much they care. I've been looking for all of those Biden-Harris supporters. They were really loud a few weeks ago. Now they are all silent. They can't defend any of this because it's indefensible. The Biden administration sent out the Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen to virtually speak with the Black Chamber of Commerce. On February 1st, she said on her Twitter page, quote, "I want to be sure that we don't forget about black economic history. We talk a lot about widening inequalities in this country, but less about how African Americans have long been on the losing end of this trend. Black families continue to lose out. Households' income for black Americans remain about 60% of that of whites, and the wealth gap between white and black families have barely changed since the Civil Rights Act passed. We need to make sure the American economy works for everybody." Unquote. Basically, what they are saying was they're putting forward a rescue plan. All they are doing was lip service about paychecks protection program, which is supposed to be a loan to business to help them meet payroll during the pandemic. They thought to be loans specifically for black businesses. They keep mentioning us in their conversation, then switch the topic before they discuss a specific plan of action. On February 6, Congresswoman Anna Presley said on her Twitter page, quote, "The racial wealth gap demands intentional policies that finally affirm economic justice. That's why Senator Cory Booker and I are introducing baby bonds, one of the most effective tools to reduce the racial wealth gap and help black and brown families build wealth." Unquote. Family, this is another Lift All programs. They're going to give everybody some baby bonds. I'm tired of these Democrats with their disrespectful talking points. In order to lift people out of circumstances, you have to close the wealth gap by specifying benefits to certain marginalized groups. These career politicians will not do that for black Americans because they never intend on closing the wealth gap. This is why every policy they start off talking about black people, then switch to everybody else. It becomes a live all policy. We are going to have to call out these live all policies. The grassroots community activist movement has spent 2 decades informing our members about the trick bag language and all of the deceitful terms that these career politicians use to confuse the average person. Twitter is not a policy forum. You can hold Kamala Harris responsible when she wrote on Twitter. I went through President Biden's American Rescue Plan. I also post the link under Show and Prove on my transcript. I did not see anything specifically for black people. The Biden administration wrote another plan called the Economics of the American Rescue Plan. Now compare that with his memorandum for the Asian community. I list that also under Show and Prove. The grassroots community activist movement encouraged black people to hold Biden and Harris accountable during the election after their decades of anti-black racism. You see, once you vote them into office, then you are no longer have leverage. The time to hold them accountable is before the election, not afterwards. This is what's wrong with the business class. It's mostly made up of consultants and contractors who are dependent on white corporations to be their beneficiaries. So we are supposed to believe that two career bureaucrats who spent their adult life attacking black people are now going to help us when they have no track record in doing so. The question is, whose interest does the Biden-Harris fighting for? All you have to do is look at their economic team and look at who it comprised of. They're showing you exactly who it is that they are interested in serving. 4 women and immigrants. No foundational black Americans. No American descendants of slaves. I provide that information under Show and Prove on my transcript. These are the people who is supposed to make economic decisions that are in our best interest. Again, all you black Americans who are so proud to voted for Biden, this is what you voted for. When it comes to Asians, they can be Pacific. Kamala Harris told us that they can't only help black people, they have to help everybody. Everybody knows that the biggest issue facing the United States is the mistreatment of black people. The real reason why all these career politicians deflect the issue to illegal immigrants, LGBT, Asians, Latinos, and the environment. Notice how the Biden administration is putting an executive order in place to give protection to Asians because of the backlash they face since COVID-19. But they did not create an executive order for black people. They are using the Civil Rights Bill and policies that was intended for black people who endured 246 years of institutionalized slavery, Jim Crow, convict leasing, redlining, and institutionalized racism. But now it's used to protect other groups under the term minority. In other words, some of these civil rights policies which are used to protect these non-black groups are used to protect them rather than protecting us. We allow these other groups to co-opt our struggle so that they can use the law against us. Meanwhile, you have rural cops attacking our children. A 9-year-old black girl was handcuffed and pepper sprayed. You have another incident, this time with a Florida school resource cop who body slammed a 16-year-old black girl. Where is our executive order? I provide the videos under Show and Prove on my transcript. These career politicians are trying to elevate or prioritize all these groups and climate change as a diversion from the black agenda. I mentioned to my group members on on other social networks for 2 decades ago. People were talking different. They were saying black empowerment era was over. Nobody is talking like that today. Our problem is economic deprivation. The financial elites have set us up and sabotage us every step of the way. The solution is rooted in economic resources. GRCAM will not accept the kumbaya ideology. When it comes to power, other groups focus on getting tangibles. There's no emotions involved. When it comes to black people, everything becomes feelings, coalition building, and diversity. These are trick words that are used to undermine the black agenda. We're not trying to do the unity thing, with everybody, because everybody does not have our best interests. We have to be brave enough to say no thanks, I'm good. For example, after the George Floyd and Breonna Taylor protests, white people went back to living a white privilege lifestyle, while black people went back to the same situation. Black people have been marching and protesting for 53 years, begging the financial elites for freedom, justice, and equality. I have been asking Black America to come forth and work with me in turning my vision into a reality. For 29 years, online and offline, these protests are becoming a parade. Don't wait until I am dead to embrace my vision and plan. Work with me while I'm still alive. Once I'm able to get my Christian business up and running in Chicago, we are going to clean house. We have to deal with white supremacy, the buffer class, coons, and the boule on a daily basis. And that's not cool. I respect Dr. King Jr., but he was wrong. I respect Malcolm X. Dr. King, who promoted integration, and Malcolm X, who promoted separation, were wrong. They thought that they bought into the American dream. Black Americans have been in the United States for 400 years. This American experiment has failed. I offer an alternative. I propose that GRCAM members apply for dual citizenship in Africa, so that those of us who are able to leave America can relocate to Africa and take our talents and skills over there. In Africa, we are the majority, and we need to build connections with our brothers and sisters on the continent. We built America, and we can build up modern Africa to become a superpower. As I mentioned many times before, I want us to create satellite communities within our inner cities and trade specifically with African entrepreneurs. We have to get serious about solving black issues. We have to stop patronizing these non-black businesses in our communities. They are making it because of our financial support. Then they turn around and get policies put in place in order to criminalize us. We have to get codified if we are going to continue living in the United States. We are the greatest survivors in history. No other group have been treated the way we have, and a lot of our history is hidden. This is why I wrote my revised book, The Solution for Black America, 2nd edition. It's about my experience growing up in the inner city of Chicago. It's also about our past, present, and future, as well as how GRCAM will play a role in solving our social issues in America, Africa, and the Caribbean/Brazil. The only thing which is preventing me from turning my virtual Christian socialist organization GRCAM into a real Christian business GRCAI is the lack of manpower and capital. This is why I turned to social media to get my message out to the public through my YouTube videos, my virtual store, my social groups, my blog postings, my online talk show, my revised book, and now through my future urban Christian film, Hood Liberator Made in Chicago, The War Against Willie Lynch Begins. This is my last attempt to try to do something positive for my racial group in America. It's not my burden alone, but rather a shared burden, for I am just one black man with a vision and a plan. It takes a team to make a dream work. GRCAM is a global community of thinkers and builders. I need your help to move GRCAM from behind the computer into our urban communities that need our talents and skills. GRCAI Chicago will be membership based. Everyone will be screened, must attend our mandatory orientation, and sign the community pledge. No exceptions. No hardened criminals, no active gang members, no urban terrorists, no pedophiles, and no half-steppers allowed in my organization. This is how I get down. This is my contribution back to my community, society, and throughout the African diaspora. Well, if people want to call in, again, the best way to get on this show is to contact me through Facebook Messenger. You click on that phone icon, and that's how you can speak with me directly on the show. And so if I have any callers, I will, get you on the show, and you can give me your input about this presentation that I just presented. This is the best that I can do, and like I say, until I'm able to get this film fully funded and made. I don't enjoy just sitting up here, just talking about the issues. Again, I have a plan, but it takes brave and smart people that's gonna that have to step up. Again, me and Sister Renee can't do everything. Again, I wrote the vision and made it plain in the revised book. Some of my critics would say, well, it's your responsibility, it's your business. No. This is our business. This organization, we are going to build it. I have the idea, but I lack the manpower and the capital. That's why I created the virtual store, so I can generate capital. That's why I wrote the book, so I can generate capital. And I'm not reaching out to the financial elites. I'm reaching out to the source, which is the black masses. That's why I want to do the film, so I can reach the global black family. Once I start making money, mark my words, everyone's going to come out the woodwork and want to be a part of this and blah, this and that. Talking about some congratulations. I don't want to hear that. I only want to speak to my members, those that don't want to be a part of the solution. We pray for them, show them tough love, and keep it moving. It's just that simple. Life is too short to be going through unnecessary drama. So with that being said, I'm looking for callers. And don't be afraid. I mean, I know a lot of you just want to, text me individually. Come on the show. Let your voice be heard. All right. I'm taking calls now.